Hello everyone, Tina here. I am super excited to share a project with you. We're using some new items from Papertrey Ink. I had created a release video where I had created one of the seed packets, and today we're going to create that same seed packet. And so we're going to jump in and get started. I thought we would pair this. This is the Fall Harvest 6x8 stamp set. I do have the coordinating die set, and then I'm also going to use the Sunflower Garden Stencil Collection for my background. This is a 6-piece stencil that creates some beautiful sunflowers. Let's start by doing a little bit of stenciling. Today I'm going to stencil directly on my card base, so I'm going to open this up, and then I'm going to bring in some low-tack tape. I'm going to mask off right at the score mark. That way our image only stays on the front. We're going to start with our sunflower. I'm going to layer this. I'm using Papertrey Ink Summer Sunrise. We're just going to pick up some ink here and go over our flowers. Summer Sunrise is one of those inks that have orange tones. And so if you go in heavy in some spots, those orange tones really pick up. Okay. And isn't this so gorgeous? So pretty. I'm going to go ahead and remove my mask. And the front of my card base is just gorgeous. I'm bringing in my stamping positioner, and we're going to start by taking some classic craft cardstock, and we're going to stamp our seed packet, which is this here. So let's take this. I'm going to use my dark chocolate ink for this. Dark chocolate's going to work beautifully for my seed packet today. So let's go ahead and ink this up and stamp. Let's give that a good press. Beautiful. And that is our seed packet. While we have the stamping positioner out, we're going to do a little bit more stamping. This time we're going to stamp our leaves. For my sunflower, I'm using Harvest Gold ink. And I'm just going to add some yellow here. Wonderful. And then I'm going to bring in my Summer Sunrise, and we're going to add some darker oranges to the edges here. Okay, I'm going to flip my panel around and do the same thing. Harvest Gold first. We'll stamp this. Beautiful. In our stamp set is the flowers, the larger flower center. So I'm going to go ahead and add this. The larger flower center we're going to ink up with our dark chocolate. Go ahead and stamp that. And I'm just going to make it easy and flip the panel and stamp one more time. While we have our dark chocolate out, I'm going to go ahead and stamp my vine. Okay, now let's stamp our leaves. For my leaves, I went 3 different colors on here just to bring out the fall. So first we're going to stamp with Jaded Vintage Jadeette. I'm going to go over my leaves. Go ahead and stamp these. Then I'll flip my panel around. And I'm going to add some color to the edges of these leaves. And when you stamp this, I'm going to stamp it a few times because I really want that teal to show through, so I'm going to stamp it a couple of times. Okay, I'll flip my panel and we'll do the same thing over here. And then we're going to bring in Olive Twist. Olive Twist is going to go on those edges, just on the edges. Going to bring in some of that dark ink. And then I'll flip my panel and repeat the process. And our leaves are done. Now we have one more image, which is the flower center that layers in here. I'm doing this separate because I'm going to die cut this one out and add a little bit of layers. So I'm using my Classic Craft. We'll stamp this. I want this kind of light because there is a dotted detail here. I'll flip my panel and we'll stamp one more. Okay, let's grab that dotted detail. And then lastly, the last layer of the sunflower, I'm using True Black ink. So we're just going to ink this up and we'll stamp this. And then I will flip this over and we will do the same. Okay, so all of our flowers are done. I'm going to do one more thing before we continue with my stamping positioner. I have some Papertrey inks. This is Spring Moss cardstock. I'm going to take the banner here and I'm going to stamp the banner. I'm going to use my Vintage Jadeette for the banner here. So I'm just going to go over this. And I'll stamp this green on green. And then there is another, the banner, it has a detail piece. Let's grab that. I'm going to grab the detail piece, and using that same ink, I'm going to stamp a couple times because I want this a little bit darker. So we'll do a triple stamping here. For this, I'm using my True Black ink. Really want that to stand out. Okay, our banner, and then now I'm bringing back my seed packet. I'm doing this last because I want this to dry. Okay, now I'm going to do some heat embossing on this bottom section. I really want my greeting to stand out, so I'm taking the greeting that says sunflower seeds. We're going to just add this to the very bottom, and then I'll treat my paper. I'm going to treat my paper with my Antistatic powder, and I'm going to go over my sunflower seeds with my watermark ink. We'll stamp this. And then I'm going to bring in my white embossing powder. The white embossing powder is just going to make this stand out. I'm actually just going to dip it in here. Okay, and then I'll use my heat gun and melt this. Now I'm going to take the coordinating die set and die cut out all of my images, and I'll be right back. Once I have everything die cut out, we're going to put together our seed packet. I did create a piece of vellum that was slightly larger than my seed packet. What I'm going to do is layer it on my seed packet, and then this inside piece, I'm going to flip it over and we're going to add adhesive, and then I'm going to inlay this, and then I'll take this and we're going to pop this up with some foam tape. I'm going to place this on the vellum, making sure it's centered here, and we have that background. Since we have a full background of sunflowers, I just wanted to make sure that my seed packet didn't get lost. Now I'm going to add some adhesive behind here, and then we'll go ahead and tack this on the middle of our card. Now I'm going to flip over my sunflowers. We're just going to put one large foam square right in the middle because we're going to do a little bit of tucking with this. Okay, I'm going to take our sunflower centers and we're going to add a little dimension to those. We're going to go ahead and add our sunflower centers, just layering those so we have some dimension. And then we can add our leaves. A little tucking with those leaves, and then we have our banner. We'll go ahead and add this just at the curve of our seed packet. Wonderful. And you know, as much as I like this green banner, I think I'm going to add a little green. This is a hindsight completely, but I think I'm going to add a little bit of green to my leaves back here. So I'm going to bring back my stencil. Now I'm going to, this is completely hindsight, but I think it's workable. So I'm going to go ahead and add some green ink. Just layer this. We're going to add some green to our background. I think this is just going to make it all come together. We're going to turn these leaves that are on the edge and the corners from teal to green. I think that's just the 3 that we needed. And I'm happy with the way that looks. Just adding that little extra green kind of tied the sentiment all together. Now I'm going to add my vines. And for finishing touches, I'm going to bring in my Glossy Accents. I'm going to go over the flower center. And you know, I'm also going to go over, add a little bit of Glossy Accents to these small yellow flowers. This is just going to give a little extra shine to those. It's a little dimension too. And then I'm going to bring in a little bit of sparkle. I'm using my Papertrey Ink Rainbow Gems. You can tell they're well loved. And we're just going to add a little bit of sparkle in this background. And that finishes my card for today. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a fabulous day, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.